What's going on? This is Ryan with Automatic Comics, and up next I saw something interesting during the Heritage Comic Auction today, and I think it's important that everyone that buys slabbed books pays attention to this, so stay tuned. Alright, so before we get started, please remember to hit that like button and hit the subscribe button if you'd like to see more content like this. Like I mentioned before, it really helps the channel, so I really appreciate it with everyone that likes and comments on the videos and subscribes to the channel, so thank you very much. Now for the topic of this video, I think there are some people out there that generally think that once a book is slabbed, that it's protected from most physical damage that it might receive, and that maybe aside from it being run over by a car or dropped on a hard surface where it cracks the slab, there's nothing that's really going to happen to that book. But I don't think that everyone realizes that these books can shift around inside the cases, and when that happens, they can receive additional damage. So it's something that you really have to be aware of and careful with. And I saw a book today that kind of made that point when I was pricing books for this auction. Now, as I was pricing the books for the auction, one of the books that stuck out to me was Captain America Comics number 49. And I'll throw a picture up over here. This is the book that I saw that was up for sale in the auction this week. And there's nothing really particularly strange that jumps out about that book. I mean, you can see that it's a little shifted. It's not really square in the case, but it's a detached cover, so that's not really all that out of the ordinary. Now, you can't really see what the difference is until you look at a picture of the book from 2013. And so this book was originally graded in 2013, and it had a sale on Comic Connect, so I was able to get a picture from that, and I'll throw a picture up of that one up there as well. And I don't know if you can tell, but you can see that that book looks quite a bit different from 2013 than it does today inside that slab. You can see that the upper right corner is a dead giveaway. It's the same book. I also checked the CGC identification number, so it's definitely the same book between both of them. But what you can see there is really how different those two books look in the slab, how much that book can actually move around over the course of this 8-year period between that last picture and this one. Now, in the upper right-hand corner, nothing really looks all that different. It's shifted, but everything looks basically the same there. But if you look down at the lower right corner, it actually looks like the book that's in the slab took a little additional damage from being shifted around. It used to have a relatively sharp corner, as sharp as a corner can be for a 1.8, but now you can see that that corner is kind of flattened, like it got folded over, maybe hit the edge of the interior, it got bent a little bit. Now, on a 1.8, that's not a big deal. That book is a 1.8 with that bent corner or without it, but what it shows is that those books can move inside, and that you really do need to be careful with your books when they are slabbed, because let's pretend that book was a much higher grade. What if it was a 9.8 and it had moved and it had shifted and bent in that corner? That book is no longer a 9.8 inside that case. So just something, it is very important to be aware that when these books are slabbed, they can still move inside, so you shouldn't toss the slabs around, shake them, and really one of I think the places where the damage can happen the most is in packaging. So you need to be really careful when you're packaging these to ship them, say if you sell a book or you're trading a book, because if they can move around inside the package that they're in, then they can slam into the edge of the box, and that can potentially shift the comic inside the case and then cause that additional damage. I've received some packages before where yeah, the comic was wrapped in bubble wrap, but then it was loosely placed inside of a larger box, and then it was freely moving around inside that box, and so it could easily cause additional damage to the comic in that case. Now, like I mentioned with the high-grade books, it's not a theoretical thing. I have definitely seen books that have been damaged inside of these cases. Don't have any pictures here for this. The main example I was just showing was for this Captain America number 49, but I've seen books that have tears at the staples that after they've been inside the case, and these were 9.8s, so you know that there was no tear at those staples when they were graded. I've also seen some where the cover has been completely detached inside of the case. And if that's a modern book or a 9.8 type book, that book goes from being worth something to basically being worthless. because a detached cover, basically the highest grade you're going to get with that perfect detached cover is going to be about a 4.0. So you've now dropped your book from a 9.8 to a 4.0 because of the damage that it received inside of that case. So it is really important to make sure that you are still careful with the books once they're slabbed and not, just like tossing them around, that kind of thing. I mean, I've seen some crazy stuff with some of these slabs. I've gotten ones that, are scratched and cracked, and that's not that big of a deal, but I think one of the strangest ones I saw when I was grading these books, and I wish I could find the picture of it, was there was one book that was selling, again, it was on a heritage auction that I was pricing for, and it was full of dog hair. You could see in the case, it was just full of dog hair. And I found the prior sale for that book, and that was maybe, I think, 2 years before, and there was no dog hair inside that case. So I don't know what that person's house was like, because we've got 2 big dogs, and I can't imagine how you could get all of that dog hair inside of that case. I've never seen a dog hair get inside of one of my cases. I mean, they're pretty tight along that side, so it almost was like we must have had to try to like jam fur in there or something, or just, I don't know how you could even breathe in an environment where the dog hair would do that. But there are definitely some crazy things, but in those cases at least, the dog hair wouldn't be able to really get inside of the interior well, and so the book would be safe. But just some things to watch out for. I mean, the grade is very important that's on the slab, but really you should make sure that you evaluate the book to see if there's anything that looks really out of the ordinary, like something that may have been additional damage that it had received. And just think about that when you're making the purchase, because if you were, say, to want to go get that book re-slabbed and you send it back in, CGC is going to reevaluate that book at that time. They don't just take it out, put it into a new slab, and say, okay, here's your book back with that grade. If they see something that tells them that this no longer meets that grade that is on that slab, they will regrade it and they will give you the lower grade. So definitely something that you want to be cautious about when you're buying books, and especially books that you're planning to send in to get re-slabbed. So like I said, this is just a real quick video. I wanted to just bring this up because it was something interesting that I saw when I was pricing books out this week. So just be careful with your slabs. Make sure that the books stay the same grade that they are when they were graded originally. If you thought this video was useful, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you'd like to see more content like this, and I will see you in the next video.